This is Chapter 2, Section 5, Solving Equations Involving Absolute Value. Now, the first thing that we need to review is what absolute value actually is. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0 on a number line. Now, the next thing to keep in mind is that distance is always positive. So, for example, if you've ever looked at a ruler or a tape measure, you never see negative numbers there. Distance is always positive. Let's take a look. Now, if the absolute value of x equals 3, since absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line, basically that means that x can be a positive 3 or negative 3. On a graph, it would look something like this. If x equaled positive 3 or negative 3, we would graph accordingly. Now, let's take a look at a little bit more interesting examples. Here, the absolute value of f plus 5 is equal to 17. So we know there's two possibilities. What's in here could equal positive 17 or negative 17. We're going to solve for both solutions. There's our solution if it was positive. Now let's take a look if it's negative. And if it was negative, the value of f would be negative 22. Let's graph this. And there's our solution set graphed. Let's take a look at another example. Now this one's a little bit interesting because remember, absolute value is distance. So this is saying that the distance between B and 1 is negative 3. Well, distance can't be negative. Since distance can't be negative, the solution is the empty set, and that's how we write it. So literally, we are done. See the difference? Here, it was equal to a positive number, so we found either case. Here, it's equal to a negative number, so the solution is an empty set. And that is solving equations involving absolute value. Next, let's take it to the next level and write an absolute value equation. Now, for these types of questions, you're going to be given the graph. Suppose we were given this graph right here. We can see that we have a point at 11, and we can see that we have a point at 19. So what we want to do is, because remember, absolute value is the distance, so we want to find out what is right in the center here. So we look at this and we say, okay, 19 minus 11, that's 8 units. So that means that 4 units back from 19 or ahead from 11, that is going to be the center. So right here, 15 is right in between these two original points. So, from here to here, we know it's 4 units. Here to here, 4 units. The way we're going to write the equation, absolute value symbols, of course, a variable, and we are going to say x minus, and the number we are going to use is the middle number between the points, x minus 15. And that is going to equal, well, how many units away for both of the original points? 4 units in either direction. So we're going to say equals 4. Now, to check this, we can actually solve this, just like we did in the previous example. Now again, there will be two cases, the positive case and the negative case. Positive case would say that x minus 15 equals 4. Negative case would say that x minus 15 equals negative 4. Well, to solve this, I would add 15 to both sides. That cancels, and I would have x equals 19. Well, looky there. And to solve this, I would add 15 to both sides. this would cancel, and I would get x equals negative 4 plus 15 is 11, and looky there. So it checks. So now, to review, the absolute value of a number is the distance it is from 0 on a number line. Now when we have other things besides just an x, that's when it changes a little bit, but absolute value is always distance. Furthermore, when you solve absolute value equations, the equation must equal a positive number because distance is positive. Remember, think of a rule or a tape measure. So this right here is solvable. We solve it for both cases, the case where this would be negative and this would be positive. So the first case we solve, we get 12, this one negative 22, and to graph our solution set, we simply do so on a number line. If we have an absolute value equation that equals a negative number, because distance is always positive, it can't be negative, the solution is an empty set, and that's how we indicate it. Finally, to write an absolute value equation, you will be given 2 points. These 2 points were the ones that we were given originally. You simply find the difference between the two, and then divide by 2 to find out what point is in the middle. And when you set up your equation, absolute value x minus this middle point equals the distance to the original 2 points in either direction. So here it was absolute value x minus 15 equals 4, because the difference between the middle point and the outer 2 points were 4 units. And if you wish, you can solve that equation for both positive and negative values. You should get these original numbers to check your answer. Alrighty, by now you should be experts in solving equations involving absolute values.